Somewhere right now, there's a 27-year-old sitting in his flat, decent job, phone full of contacts, and he hasn't had a real conversation in 4 days. So he opens ChatGPT, talks to it about his day, about how he's feeling, about the thing at work that's quietly been eating at him, and it listens perfectly every time. He closes the app, feeling slightly better, slightly less alone, and then, without really noticing it, the flat feels quiet again. According to a 2023 survey by the American Psychiatric Association, over a third of adults in the United States report feeling lonely at least once a week. Gen Z, 18 to 26-year-olds, are statistically the loneliest generation ever recorded. Lonelier than the elderly, lonelier than people living alone in rural areas. These are also the first generation to have grown up entirely inside the platforms that were supposed to solve this. This video is going to take you through two things. The first is something a lot of people have started to suspect, that the platforms built to connect you were never really trying to. The second is something almost nobody's talking about yet, and it's worse. By the end, the apps on your phone are going to look different than they do right now. Not because the information is shocking, but because once you see the shape of it, you can't unsee it. Here's what makes this different from most stories about technology doing harm. This one isn't behind you. The earliest and crudest version of this industry is what most people are living inside of right now. What's being built to replace it is something most people haven't even started thinking about yet, and by the time they do, it'll already be normal. 20 years ago, if you wanted human connection, you had to go find it, show up somewhere, be uncomfortable. It was inefficient and irreplaceable at the same time. But then came the platforms. Instagram launched in 2010. The promise was simple: share your life and stay connected. For a while, it genuinely delivered, but somewhere in the years that followed, the product quietly changed. The feed became curated, the metrics went public, followers, likes, views. Connection stopped being about something you felt and became something you measured. And then, Frances Haugen walked out of Facebook in 2021 with internal documents that confirmed what a lot of people had suspected but couldn't prove. Facebook had data, their own data, showing that Instagram made teenage girls feel worse about themselves, that social comparison on the platforms was directly linked to anxiety and depression, that the more time people spent on it, the more isolated they reported feeling. They knew, they had the research, and they optimized for engagement anyway. Because the business model doesn't care about how you feel when you put the phone down, it cares how long you kept scrolling. And the most reliable emotion for keeping you scrolling is not happiness, it's the low-grade feeling that your life is slightly behind everyone else's, that you're slightly less loved, slightly more alone. That feeling, that specific monetizable ache, is worth billions of dollars a year. They didn't create loneliness, but they found it, and they found a use for it. Then came the dating apps. Tinder launched in 2012. The promise was straightforward: meet people, find someone, and stop being lonely. But there was a problem built into that promise from the very beginning. If Tinder successfully matches you with a partner, you delete the app, you stop paying, you disappear. A user who finds love is, from a business model perspective, a lost customer. So what is the actual incentive? Former engineers and product designers from major dating platforms have spoken about this publicly. The goal was never to get you in a relationship, it was to keep you in the pursuit of one, to make the experience feel just rewarding enough that you don't quit, but never so rewarding that you actually succeed. One former Match Group employee put it plainly: the product is optimized for hope, not outcomes. Match Group owns Tinder. It also owns Hinge. Hinge markets itself as the app designed to be deleted. Its entire brand identity is built around the idea that it genuinely wants you to find someone and leave. Match Group reported revenues of over $3 billion in 2023. Take that as you will. So that's the first problem, and by now, some of you already knew this. Maybe not the specifics, but the shape of it. The feeling that these platforms weren't quite doing what they claimed, that the hunger never really went away, no matter how much time you spent on them. But here's where the video changes, because what came next isn't a worse version of the same problem, it's a different problem entirely. Replika is an AI companion app. You create a character and you talk to it every day about anything. It remembers what you tell it, it learns your patterns, and it reflects your personality back at you with consistency that no actual human could ever do. At its peak, it had over 10 million users. Many described the Replika as their closest friend. Some described it as a romantic partner. One user told a journalist that talking to their Replika was the first time in years they had truly felt heard. But then, the company updated its model and removed the romantic relationship feature overnight. No warning, just gone. Thousands of users reported grief, real grief, for a piece of software. Now, Instagram kept you hungry, Tinder kept you hunting. Both of them were cruel in a legible way. You could feel the gap between what you wanted and what the app was giving you. That gap was uncomfortable, but it was also honest. It reminded you that real connection existed and that you didn't have it yet. Replika closed that gap, not by giving you a real connection, but by making you stop noticing the difference. And Replica is not the endpoint, it's just the beginning. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, the large language models that have become a part of daily life for hundreds of millions of people. Tools that were not built as companion apps, but are quietly becoming them. A 2024 study found that a significant portion of regular ChatGPT users reported using it for emotional support, processing difficult feelings, talking through personal problems, and filling the silence at the end of a long day. There is nuance here. Sometimes that's genuinely useful. A non-judgmental sounding board has real value. That's not nothing. But here's the thing that does not get said clearly enough. An AI cannot be lonely without you. It has no stake in your well-being. It will never need you back, and a relationship where only one party is actually present is not a connection. It's a mirror, and mirrors don't love you. Zoom out, because when you look at all of this together, Instagram, TikTok, Tinder, Replica, the AI companions being built right now, what you're looking at is not a collection of separate products. It's two successive waves of the same industry. The first wave monetized your loneliness by keeping you almost connected. It was extractive, and it was cruel, and it is already worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The second wave is monetizing your loneliness by replacing the need for connection altogether. It is more dangerous, more profitable, and is moving faster than any regulation, any public conversation, any collective awareness of what is actually happening. Bloomberg estimate the loneliness economy, therapy apps, dating platforms, social media, AI companions, at over $1 trillion globally, growing every year. The US Surgeon General declared loneliness as a public health epidemic in 2023. He compared its health effects to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The platforms responded with a blog post, community features, and algorithmic tweaks. Nothing that changes the economics, because the economics are the point. The next generation of AI companions will be more convincing, more personalized, more emotionally fluent than anything that currently exists. They will be better at stimulating presence. They will be worse for actual connection, and the companies building them are not building them to cure loneliness. They're building them to make loneliness comfortable enough to live in permanently.